Let's do it. We're over here on Frost, Ladder Edition in the bottom right-hand position as the Blue Terran. It's our very own Liquid TaeJa. And the Taiwanese superstar is spawning to the bottom left-hand position. It is the red Zerg, Gamania Sen. Sen is awesome, and I kind of like this map, especially for Terran and in these positions, but you can go into it a little bit. How do you like this map, Frost, Ellie? I'm actually surprised it made it through the veto stages.
I think it's another map that's pretty good for Zerg in this matchup, actually. It's pretty wide open. You can pressure the Terran when he tries to take a third base. And it's also pretty easy to defend the natural because the choke's kind of small.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's easy to defend the natural. The main things I guess I'm thinking of is it is a 4-player map. Normally Zergs play a little bit greedier, and because of that, 2 racks pressure in the middle of the map can be a little bit troublesome, and especially with the very closed natural base, you can actually wall it off pretty nicely to make it impossible for your opponents to really defend the natural. Or I should probably be going over here. But what's most important is, how does Zerg actually take a 3rd and 4th base? I always feel like it's so difficult to do that.
Well, you just do it like you normally do. You spread creep maybe a bit more. You can want to go for the 4-queen opening that you see sometimes instead of that quick link speed with only 2 queens, maybe 3 that Jaedong used, just so you can get the creep out more. Because if you have enough creep spread, it's not that difficult to defend the Hellions.
And it's important that you note that because a lot of times, because of the very fast creep that you need to have. I mean, this 3rd base kind of juts out a lot. This 4th base is closer to your opponent. Of course, TaeJa I'm talking about. And a lot of Terran players have been opting to go the 3 barracks before the 3rd command center, just to get that head start on the creep. You don't have nearly as good of an economy, you don't have nearly as good as upgrades, but you just get your simple +1 weapons attack, and from there you can kind of manage with some great mobility and just constantly have that unit advantage. From there you're able to just snowball that and have good engagements overall. But we'll see. I mean, TaeJa is definitely open to all sorts of things. And maybe we're even reading into it too much. I mean, TaeJa is definitely an opponent that likes to play and change his style a little bit, but overall he stands to the same principles, which is just macro and out multitask my opponent, outdo my opponent with just better mechanics. At this point, just very standard play, and it looks like Sen is listening to you, going the 4-queen openings. From here, I mean, what are the big advantages of the 4 queens besides creep spread? I mean, doesn't it put you behind, I guess, economically a little bit with your gas?
Well, it actually puts you slightly ahead in economy because you're not mining that gas early. You have a bit higher mineral count, and it does put your link speed behind. But if you're not planning on putting any aggression on, then it doesn't actually matter because you can defend the early Hellions with the extra queens you have. And we'll have to see when he takes the 3rd base, though. There's some different timings you can take it at when you go for this 4-queen build.
Sure.
Sometimes you see a single gas, sometimes you see double gas. You can go roaches. You can do a lot of things with the 4-queen opening.
Gotcha. Important to note, TaeJa did actually scout out that there are no gases being put down, so he knows this is the 4-queen opening. Double gases have been put down. And a 3rd command center going to pop out here. I like the Marine positioning, by the way, just patrolling back and forth. Basically saying to Sen, hey, don't come in here. You're not going to get a verification, and if you do, your Overlord for sure is dead, and you might not even see everything that's going on here. So I do like that. Overlord positioning is definitely one of the hardest things to do on a 4-player map. But from here, I mean, we're going to see very standard play coming out from both players. Sen going to throw down a Roach Warren. Interesting that it's a Roach Warren. Is this just to defend in the early stages?
It could be. I think that's probably what he's going to do since he has the pneumatized carapace upgrade on the way now. I don't think he's going to use it for aggression if he's getting that upgrade. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see because you don't need to get roaches out that quickly when you're doing a 4-queen opening like this.
Sure. I mean, your queens are normally defending for you, and especially spreading a ton of creep. And there is 4 creep tumors are out and about. Doing a good job. 1 Zergling is going to go down here. Hellions just poking in, seeing as much as he can. But look at this Overlord coverage. I really like this from Sen. you're allowed to see exactly where the Hellions are coming from and even the Hellion count, and so it makes a lot of sense. Overlord speed is now finished, so Sen is going to bolt in here and get a chance to see everything that's going on and basically confirm to himself that, okay, it is just the regular 3rd command center, 2 barracks, and then a double engineering bay. A lot of times if you see 2 E-bays before the 2 racks, you can hit a timing. That's not going to happen over here, as TaeJa is playing very comprehensive in his defense.
And Sen is making a couple roaches out for some quick defense against his Hellions, and I think behind this he's just going to fully saturate that 3rd base as quickly as he can. After he scouted that, he knows there's no chance that TaeJa is going to pressure him quickly, so he can just drone as much as he wants, probably to about 70, maybe even a bit higher before he starts making more units.
And TaeJa right now, the reason why he's poking in and out, this might seem really weird, like why are you taking unnecessary damage? What he's trying to confirm is if this is an all-in or if this is just pressure. And he hasn't done that just yet, but he has indicators. Seeing the roaches not move from this center, it actually makes it very uncomfortable for TaeJa. And I wouldn't have been surprised if he threw down extra bunkers, but it looks like he did take a read from that and said, okay, it's not going to be an all-in. Roaches would keep going forward, so I don't have to worry about it. Could have been a sick mind game, but that's not going to be the case. Scan goes down over the natural base, sees everything that's going on. Now, do you actually read, if you're Terran, that this is a roach type play, or do you read that this is actually mutiling Baneling?
I think he's going to read that it's mutiling Baneling. A lot of the time, Terran's going to scan the natural, maybe once, or the main base to see if there's mutalisks coming pretty soon. And then if you see more roaches coming out of the hatcheries, then you read into it as a roach play.
But why would you say this is mutiling Baneling? Like, the roach warner's right there, it's double upgrades. Couldn't it be like that 11, 12, 13-minute timing?
Well, usually if he's doing that, you'll see more roaches by now, and you won't see a 4th base either. So I think that's why you think that is a mutiling Baneling, and he has ling speed, which you don't need if you're going for a roach play either.
That's very true. Hellions will be taken out here, and Sen has a really good position so far. 4th base being taken, as you're talking about, in the top left-hand position instead of this regular 4th location. Of course, this 4th location is so close to the 3rd. What do you think about TaeJa's 3rd location, by the way? This is really interesting to me. Normally, we see the 3rd being placed over here, where Sen is parking his Overlord and spewing out creep. But why would he get it over here? What are the advantages/disadvantages?
I guess the big advantage is that if Sen does take that other 4th base that we were talking about and how close it is because of that, you can kind of push easily from that location against the Zerg 4th. That's not the case though, so it's not going to factor into this game very much, I don't think.
Oh gosh, and a lot of pressure is being done. Zerglings are being made as we speak. Baneling's going to waddle in, but is it going to be enough? It's going to force TaeJa to pick up here, and additional Zerglings will be made and will be popped out here. Income tab showing 78 Harvesters, so Sen looking really healthy. A nice scan will clear out a lot of these creep tumors. This is exactly what you have to do. This small timing window until like 12:30 normally is where you can stop, where you have to take out creep as best as possible to empower future pushes. Centrifugal Hooks is almost finished, and this is a good timing for Mutas to pop out now. But is this going to be enough? Marines are going to push forward and keep killing a lot of creep tumors. Wow, this is actually pretty impressive. TaeJa clearing out so much. This is such a bold move as well. But now here comes the big run-in. No, he's going to back up, wait until that Baneling speed is finished, and here it is. Now the pushes commence, and TaeJa microing this really well. Oh my god, maintaining a lot of his Marines, but eventually will have to clean everything up, apparently. Zerglings still being produced. Muta's finally out on the field to clear out some of those medevacs. I think this push was worth it.
Yeah, I definitely think it was. I don't think Sen engaged that as well as he could have. He kind of just A-moved towards TaeJa's units, and I think he should have spread out and tried to get a better concave so his units would hit from a kind of wider, a wider line when they engaged.
Oh no, that makes a lot of sense. Now, Widow Mines are on top of creep, and it's important to note that TaeJa is still attacking on creep. All this creep hasn't receded. Sen getting a good arc on everything. The 4th base is actually under attack, excuse me, and this is going to be taken out pretty soon here. I like the positioning of this. His medevac is going away from the rest of the army. A small engagement over in the middle of the field. Baneling's going to be exploded against a lot of Widow Mines here. He's going to have to back up as Zerglings and Banelings are just all over the place. But Sen, remember, he has a booming economy, so he can kind of trade costs inefficiently. Now sprinting forward, the Zerglings are plentiful in number. and it looks like he might be able to do this. 2-2 just about to finish for TaeJa, but this is an overwhelming amount of units being sent in by Sen.
Yeah, and Sen's actually getting more efficient engagements as TaeJa loses his units.
Wow.
So
yeah.
I think this game's kind of shifted, and I think Sen has the advantage now. Once he saturates that fourth, he's going to have a pretty nice lead.
That's incredible. I didn't think that he can actually do it because of how much creep was killed, but as you can see, the creep wasn't actually receded all the way. He needs to kill these Widow Mines before actually engaging yet again. Sen also needs to put out more creep tumors as his creep is receding very fast. You want to maintain that. There it is. And finally, the creep tumor, or excuse me, the Widow Mines will be taken out eventually. Oh gosh, actually not just yet. In comes another round of units. This is a pretty small amount of forces, though, and it might not prove to be all too cost-efficient, although Widow Mines, those are the X-Factor units. And here we go. He's pushing in with so many more units than his opponent, but great Widow Mine connections will kill a ton of Zerglings. Oh, my God, and it's going to continue going in here, but good micro will stop a little bit there. Mutalisk going to be taken out, and now Sen is going to back up finally again. He needs to be so careful and needs to get more creep out, but the fourth base still up. Income tab showing 75 harvesters, so he has remade a couple here. Where does Sen go from here? Is he just teching up, trying to get Hive 3-3? Does he have a transition after this, or does he stick on Muta, Zergling, Baneling?
He might go Ultralisk. It's kind of stylistic whether Zerg would just stick on Mutaling Baneling and use the Hive for the 3-3 upgrades, or whether they want to go Ultralisk. And I haven't seen Sen play too much Hive Tech as EVT so far, so we'll have to see what he wants to do.
Here it is, the big engagement. Zergling's trying to wrap around all these units, and the Mutas are trying to enclose. It looks like Sen's going to get a great engagement over here as the Marines and Marauders are locked into place. Baneling's going to push forward. A Widowmine connection actually hits pretty nicely, but because there's multiple sides that TaeJa has to micro, TaeJa will not be too cost efficient with either side. Marines getting cleaned up so easily. Instead, overrunning the Korean Terran. Are you kidding me?
Summer is over, Andre. It's fall.
It is fall, and it looks like the fall of
TaeJa might fall in
TaeJa.
this game pretty soon.
Yes, sir, as barracks are getting cleaned up. The third base under attack. No fourth base out for TaeJa either, so that's important to note. And units just streaming across the map. Mutas in pretty good numbers, but this is mostly Zerglings. It looks like Sen will have to back up from here as reinforcements will stabilize his third base, but at what cost? Income tab, 45 harvesters to 75. The fourth base still very healthy. No extractors on that just yet, but you can see the mineral income really coming into effect over here as Sen just has so many Zerglings. This is almost like a Hyun style where you don't take a lot of gases and really concentrating on just getting so many Zerglings out in the field to overwhelm your opponent at this critical juncture.
And also he's sticking on a very low muta count for this entire game.
Yes.
A lot of Zergs these days go up above 16 mutas, getting even to 30 and up mutas usually, but Sen's sticking on about 10 to 15 mutalists the entire game.
Yeah, kind of audacious from him. But Sen knows he's in a good position. I mean, he has his overlords in good positions to actually check. He's scouting around the map. I mean, look how much red is on this screen. Look at the vision that Sen is able to see. Now Muta is going into a position where he can do damage against the natural base. SEVs are not covered by anything, and Marines are going to be forced to pull back yet again. I mean, Sen doing everything right over here. And all of a sudden, I'm almost feeling like Sen is just massively ahead in the series. I think he's actually outplaying his opponent TaeJa.
Yeah, I don't think TaeJa, I think the problem that I'm seeing in TaeJa's play here is he's not adapting very well for the map and for these spawn positions. It's so wide open towards the Zerg's third base that he was pushing towards the entire game that he could never get the cost-efficient engagements he wanted. Sure, he traded kind of efficiently, but not as efficiently as he needs to if he's playing this aggressively.
Sure. And Ultras are on the way out. It's really unfortunate because from here, I mean, Zerg can really snowball, or any race can really snowball after you're so far ahead. You have a lot of map movement. But the one thing that Sen hasn't been doing is keeping up with his creep spread. You can see only a single creep tumor. Players like Jaedong and Scarlet really focus on getting their creep spread across everywhere to really empower those banelings, but Sen just going to do the old method of overwhelm your opponent. He almost feels like he has to put pressure on his opponent before the fourth base is taken. That's a great timing to hit. A lot of Zergs have been concentrating around that. Muta's again flying over, probably going to try to hit the natural. It is still not covered by any sort of units, while banelings go into the third base. Oh, he might be able to get good baneling hits, and he does. Kills a lot of the economy of TaeJa, and now going in for the main engagement. Look at how many Zerglings. He's going to spread everything out. Whoa! Oh. Beautiful Widowmine. And just like that, TaeJa says, I don't think so, Sen. Where is Sen's... wait, how is Sen maxed? He's at 196 supply, 82 Zerglings, and 6 Ultras in production right now. But that's going to come at a very unfortunate time. Look, the Ultras are still a long time away, and TaeJa is already approaching into position. Oh my goodness, this might actually...
No,
this might overwhelm his opponent.
He only has several Marauders, only 3 to 4 Marauders, and there's a lot of Ultras popping out.
And yeah, the Ultras are able to just connect directly. Normally you need your Widow Mines to deal with them, but not going to happen this time. One of the medevacs carrying a couple of those Marines are going to go down. 30 additional Zerglings. And look, Ultras are just waiting. Holy moly. Sen is on top of everything. You can see the bank really coming into effect over here for this engagement, just shutting down TaeJa. TaeJa, his economy has dwindled. Income tab 42 to 76, but look at that income, 1,000 to 2,000. Things are just looking better and better for Sen, but he can't be complacent with his attacks. I mean, he probably had the worst engagement he could possibly have to allow TaeJa to come back into the fight.
I don't think it's possible for him to have that bad of an engagement again, though, considering the difference in how valuable each player's army is at this point. I think if he A moves like that again, he'll win the fight.
I do too. And you can see TaeJa kind of realized that and says, okay, I need to spread out my Widow Mines. I can't really be attacking anymore because my opponent can just crush me so fast. We'll see as he's just going to poke up a little bit here, trying to instigate a fight. Let's see the Zerglings and whether they can get good surrounds or good spreads. Baneling's going to be targeted down. Really nice target fire by those Widow Mines. He's not just doing nothing. He's not just letting it go. Kiting on the Ultralisks, and all of a sudden, it might just be too much going into the natural, going into the 4th base Planetary Fortress, tanking a lot of damage. Marines and Marauders in an okay position, but one single Ultra is able to kill the majority of the bio units. Planetary Fortress, will it go down? And I think it will. The 4th base is going to be crushed. Sen streaming in additional units. The Widow Mines over here at the natural will be able to pick up another Ultralisk. But it doesn't really matter, Ghostu user. This is just too far of a lead for Sen. He has his 5th base established. He has his economy still roaring. 158 supply to 67. And now the 3rd base is the next target for Sen.
Yeah, and I think we just saw Sen snowball out of control after he won this early game.
Oh, yeah. GG.